everyone. Whip month is almost over. August is almost over, and usually around this time of year I'll have some sort of introspective post, but I'm not going to do that right now. And this is going to be just sort of a brief vlog about the 100 Best Women in Translation project. And it's not over yet. The deadline is actually on August 25th, so please, if you haven't sent in your titles yet, either comment them or email or send on Twitter or Instagram. It really doesn't matter how you send it, just send it. I kind of want to talk about the list, but I'm going to try to avoid all spoilers because I don't want to influence anyone's vote. Basically, I've been working on this for the past month and a half or so. It has been an absolutely incredible experience. Just the amount of books that people have been sending, the love that people have for the literature that they're promoting is incredible. And I really do want to thank everyone who has sent in titles, even if you just sent in the one book that you've read and loved, or you sent in 10 and 5 others that you were like, well, I hope you can add, and I didn't because I'm mean like that. And thank you to everyone, whether it's, a book of your own that you're promoting, or a book that you just happen to really love, or a book that you're really excited to read and just wanted somehow for it to be out there in the ether. Thank you. And the thing about the list that is super, super cool is that it is really something completely new. And I'm not saying that to kind of toot my own horn or anything, because first of all, this is all on you. I haven't voted yet. I am going to be the last one. I retain that right as the person organizing it. But basically, I kind of presented this initially, and I definitely stand by this, that this is like a new canon. And you all probably know that the old canon is not necessarily reflective. The old canon is really dependent on what language it's written in. So a list of the 100 best books of all time written in English is going to mostly contain books that were originally written in English, whether or not it specifies that it's the 100 best books written in English, or it's just usually going to be English language literature. It's almost always going to be men. They are almost always going to be white, and there are certain things that we can kind of expect. And what's really cool about the 100 Best Women in Translation list is that it's really none of the things that lists have been in the past. And I mean that in the best way. It's very much a contemporary list. Not everything. There are a lot of classics there. Not as many as I was expecting, I have to admit. But there's a lot of very recent literature that people are extremely passionate about and love. There is a lot of literature from around the world. I mean, there are books from so many different languages and so many different backgrounds, and so many of the writers that I showcased in the 50-day countdown are on the list. There are a lot of writers from parts of the world that people are always asking, oh, could we have more books from Africa? And there are a few African women writers in translation on the list, maybe not as many as would be in a list that we were kind of picking more, I guess, directly, but that's kind of part of the deal when you're doing a crowdsourced list. And I think it's super cool, the books that we do have, the fact that there are a lot of Latin American books, which should surprise absolutely no one. There's a lot of love for Korean women writers, which should surprise no one. Japanese women writers as well. And so many from different parts of the world. There are books that are covering millions of different experiences. There are queer classics and new books, and really a wide variety in a way that I could not have possibly imagined. Genres and styles and approaches and everything. And that's why I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that this is a list unlike anything that has ever been compiled. That claims to be a canon or just happens to encompass so many books. And, you know, if there are ever concerns about a list not really being reflective, there are going to be things in this list that aren't fully reflective. There are books that I'm still shocked that haven't made it to the list at all. Like, aren't going to make it to the top 100, aren't nominated at all, which there are some books that I just still can't believe. But then again, some of the most popular books, I was really surprised in a positive sense, where I was expecting them to, you know, maybe make it, and they've proven to be works that people really loved and apparently really resonated with a lot of readers. And I think that there's something absolutely wonderful in that. And you'll see kind of what I'm talking about when I release the full list. And so now I'm just kind of gonna make you all a little bit excited about the sorts of things that I hope to look at once the list is public. First of all, I should clarify, the top 100 list will be published first, and that is the most important part of curating a 100 best women writers in translation list, books by women writers in translation. So that I hope to be publishing within a couple days of the deadline. And then I also do hope to eventually share the full list, not necessarily with the voting tally, but yes, have a list of all of the books that have been nominated. Most importantly, the books that have been nominated that have not been translated into English. It's going to be a little hard for me to assess whether a book has been translated into other languages or not, just because I speak a limited number of languages, and it's very, very hard to search every single option and figure out if something's been translated or not. So I am going to pass on that. But I do hope to point out that, you know, this project is still happening in English, so I'm going to give a little bit of attention to those books that were written in languages other than English originally, have not yet been translated, and readers nominated them from within their own native languages. And so I'm really, really excited to be able to share that. I can't wait to talk about the authors that have tons of books nominated, which not all will make the final list. I should point out there is a limit to 2 books per author, so that, you know, it's not just all like everyone's favorite single one author. But I will be talking a little bit about those authors who were more popular. I will be talking about the authors cases where people said things like, oh, you know, I'm gonna not nominate these books, which I really like, because I'm sure everyone else has, which was sometimes true and sometimes not. Like I said, there are certain surprises. I would like to talk a little bit about the breakdown of country of origin, how our list looks relative to the overall publishing trend, how it looks relative to kind of the publishing world at large, and what it says about where we're going, where I think I've already mentioned that the list is quite contemporary tilted. And I think that says something about how Women in Translation is very much a new project and one that is on the rise. So these are all sorts of things that I'm going to be discussing a little bit more in the next few weeks, possibly months, depending how long it takes me to do some of the number crunching. But I do promise that the list will be coming soon. It is a wonderful list so far. I have had to add literally hundreds of books to the list of books that I want to read. So you all owe me like however much money I have to end up spending to buy all of these books. No, I'm joking, you do not. But it's really a wonderful project. I want to thank every single person again who has sent in their titles, and if you haven't yet, now is the time. So have a happy rest of Whit Month. Send in your nominations, share with all of your friends, even if they don't read much literature in translation, even if you don't read much literature in translation. If you have a book that you wanna put up, just send it. And I cannot wait to share this with you all.